sellers have told me, well, we don't have cash flow issues. We've got a lot of money. Well, if you have a lot of money, that means you're not managing your money right. Okay, because cash is not king in this business. Inventory is king. Okay, you need more SKUs. You need more leverage on the
Mm,
marketplaces. Sitting on
mm-hmm.
cash in your checking account and your savings account, that's not doing anything for you. Okay, just like the most, the most respected gurus out there, finance gurus, whether it be Warren Buffett or whether it be, you know, Elon Musk or some of the, smaller guys you see on Instagram that are always pushing. What are they
Yeah.
pushing? They say, well, cash, having cash in a savings account at 1% is not, you're not creating wealth. You need to expand your business. You need to scale faster and faster and
Mm,
faster in order to stay competitive. Okay. Maybe now that you have the cash, you could buy 1,000 of these particular Crocs instead of 100. And because you bought 1,000, you got 50 cents better from wholesale, right? Because you know where to source it from.
mm-hmm.
You know that you can leverage it, right? And so what I want people to understand is this is not only for sellers that don't have the cash. If you have the cash, then get more cash. Why would you want to just work on profits? Bring in more cash into your business. Go buy a property if you don't really want to do more in e-commerce, right? Or take that cash and find more items that you can source and create a larger presence on multiple channels.
Mm.
Sell in multiple countries now. Sell on Walmart, sell on Shopify, sell on your own website. Use the cash to build your brand, put more marketing in. You once you have the cash, you will find many opportunity to be creating more cash, to create more profits, right? The game here is volume these days, and it's not profit. Sell more, find more items to sell, create a larger store, create a larger presence. That's what the game is. So this particular exchange, I would like it to become on the forefront of how sellers look at how they run their business. When you come in on a daily basis, you have a well-oiled machine already. You have people fulfilling for you, you have people marketing for you, the business is running on a daily business. You come in, you make sure that the sales are continuing, you make sure that the accounting is done, you make sure the bills are paid. Now, when you come in, you've gone public on the New York Stock Exchange. Consider it that. But you've gone public on CGX. Now, when
Mm-hmm.
you come in,
Mm.
you're on CGX as the founder of this company, as the owner of that seller on that company selling on e-commerce marketplaces. You come onto CGX and you figure out ways to extract more cash. You're not focused anymore on the retail end of the business. That's already running. You have personnel doing that for you. You have profits coming in there. Now your game is get on CGX, extract tens of thousands of dollars, call your suppliers, find out what's the next item that you want to add to your bucket, get on more marketplaces, go to conferences, meet the folks in this industry that are going to find you, find you the new SKU to invest in this next coming season. Create a larger presence, increase your marketing, become larger and larger and larger. This is the game that Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, the Yum brands that I've worked with in the past, these franchises, this is what they do. When a franchise comes in and he opens up a McDonald's, he doesn't open up one McDonald's. He opens up 5 McDonald's. Why? McDonald's number one in New York probably makes 20% profit margin. McDonald's number two in Tel Aviv, Israel only makes 10%. McDonald's number three only makes 5%. But the
Mm.
three together is 3x the cash flow.
Mm.
That's what he's looking for.
Interesting.
He needs more cash flow to come in. And what that does for you is that creates a way to diversify your risk. So now, if business risk comes down on the Crocs, but I've got 5 other SKUs because I've raised money, now I can keep my business afloat, pay my payroll, and keep the business going because I've got a bunch of other SKUs that I just added that are making cash for me. If something happens and Amazon, starts selling against you on a particular good, and now you're not getting the buy box percentage you used to get, so your sales have slowed down and you've got to lower your price, no problem. you're now able to make money on these other SKUs that you've added to your pipeline because you've scaled your business. What I'm seeing being in this business for a long time on a high level with industry leaders, okay, is that sellers, they're staying constant. They're kind of comfortable. If you're comfortable right now and you're telling me and you sit with me today and let me look at your finances and you tell me I don't need the money, Shawn, I bet you I can find a way that you could use that money. And I bet you if I looked at your finances, I could tell you you're not managing your money properly because you've got this cash, but once this cash runs out and you're sitting on only the same SKUs you've been selling for the last 2 years, what's going to happen? There will come that time where the market share will get diluted. E-commerce
Yep.
is only growing. Prior to COVID, e-commerce was only about 6 or 7% of retail sale. Today, after COVID, we've broke 50%. That is unheard of in growth. But what that means for the seller, it's much harder to do business. Much
Mm-hmm.
harder to do business. Because now those Crocs that are being sold by 22 different sellers. So this is what I want on the sellers really to understand. We've got enough people out there, traders that are looking to invest, for instance, in this particular good right here, the Crocs.
Mm-hmm.
And as an individual offer, I could be a college student. It could be my wife who's a biochemist engineer and she doesn't know anything about e-commerce, but she knows the cosmetics she uses. She may go onto this and say, I'll put in $1,000 this month. Or it could become some of my co-founders who are experienced traders in the equities markets. And they come in and they say, you know what, I'll put $50,000 into this bundle here. They can come in, they can invest in individual goods on a small scale or bundles on a large scale, create liquidity for you as the seller and some passive income for myself as a
Mm-hmm.
trader. We all win. I don't know who I invested in. I don't know their name. I can't compete against them, but I can help them. I can give them cash, and you can help me by making some money every month.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait for that cash. You go ahead and continue doing business like you know how to do because I don't know your business. It's a very difficult business to run. It's a very difficult business to scale. E-commerce is not easy. E-commerce, what I like to say, e-commerce today is what retail was in the 90s. Okay? We relied on foot traffic in the 90s in retail, and on every block in New York City, there was a pizza store. On every block, there was a bodega. On every block, there was, a drugstore, private drugstores everywhere. And we relied on foot traffic, and it was competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have social media and marketing tools in the 90s and 2000s. But today, we have all of that. And we've also got 30 sellers. Just like there was 30 retail stores on one block, now there's 30 sellers on the same item.
Mm-hmm.
How are you differentiating yourself? And the only way you're going to differentiate yourself is cash flow. You got to get an influx of cash. You need hundreds of thousands of dollars to start working with to scale your business. And I can guarantee that if a seller comes onto this platform, they will see multiples of cash flow than they have been selling one by one on these marketplaces. Now, when I say guarantee, remind you, I can't guarantee the trader that past performance is indicative of future results because it's not, right? That's the risk the investor is willing to take. And I can't guarantee that you're going to, as a seller, make the same profit margins because you're not. You have to give up a little bit to get that cash flow. But I can guarantee that there'll be more cash in your bank on a monthly basis than you did have before when you were just selling one by one on these marketplaces. And today, I'm telling you today, over the next 24 months, as we launch, as we expand, you will see that this becomes the number one priority of sellers. And I'm going to work directly with these sellers, and my team's going to work directly with these sellers to help them understand how to get the most out of this platform. But I'm not one sided. As an exchange, I can't advise. The New York Stock Exchange does not advise whether you should invest in IBM. We're just putting the opportunity out there,
Yeah.
right? But I'm going to make sure on both ends that we have the resources, the library, and the tools that we give you as the data that we provide that allows the trader to get the best data that they need to make an educated decision on their
Yeah.
bids. and the seller has the data that they need to create the best offers out there to extract the most cash flow. See the demand, create the cash flow for themselves, and then we'll work with partners that you're already working with, marketplaces, data providers, to help you source more goods. So what are you going to do with this cash? Well, I can't help you find the goods, but there are so many companies out there. As I mentioned earlier, you've got Smart Scout, you've got Jungle Scout, you've got all these other tools out there that you can now leverage because you have the cash to spend. I love when I sell property. Why? Because I can go shopping. I can go find two more properties, right? But I can't find the properties when I don't have the cash. In this particular case, you can't find more goods to invest in when you don't have the cash. And one seller actually recently told me, but Shawn, I have the cash. My business is running. I like the profits I'm receiving. Every day I'm having a certain number of sales and I have the cash. And I said to him, I said, okay, then why aren't you using that cash to expand your business? He says, I am. I'm going to replenish the goods when they get sold.
Mm.
Okay, so the existing goods you have, you're going to replenish, which means you didn't expand your reach. You didn't expand the number of SKUs you have. Why not? And he says, well, if sales slow down, I'm going to need this money to buy more, or I said, exactly. This is your problem. You don't actually have enough cash. You're just comfortable with the cash you have. If you had enough cash, you'd go out there and not only replenish the goods that are selling, but find new goods to sell.
Interesting.
Instead, you have just enough cash to make sure you can keep replenishing the goods that are selling. And that's why you stay at the bottom 1%.
Mm.
You want to be the top 2% of Amazon sellers? You need more cash. And so the players that have showed me that they love this platform, yeah, they're the big boys. And they've got more cash than anyone. But they looked at me and they said, Shawn, we want to become a power seller on this exchange. Because we look at this as going IPO. Think about a company going public on the exchange, on the stock market. Like CGX, we plan to go IPO, right? So that the public can invest in our shares of our company. How does a seller go IPO? The seller can now go public on this exchange, stays anonymous. You don't know who the seller is. Just like when you buy 100 shares of Amazon, you don't know how many people or how many companies, Goldman Sachs, Chase, who sold you those shares on the back end. You just went on Robinhood and you bought 100 shares.
Mm-hmm.
So this at least protects that gives you the anonymity, so that the seller is not, they're not giving up their personal information. You don't know who they are, so you can't compete against them. But you get filled, you might get filled by 3 different sellers. We have a lot of rules in here. If I bid on these Crocs and there's 3 different sellers on my exchange, the system on the back end will fill you based on first in, first out, just like the commodities in the stock market, right? Just like when you trade crude oil or natural gas, like I traded. If you bid on these Crocs 40 pieces at 16.75, you might get 20 from one seller, 10 from another seller, 10 from another seller. The system will fill you based on the price, the timing, all of that. It's very complex on the back end, but on the front end, as we progress, we'll make it a lot more easier. We'll make it a lot more cleaner. We'll make the mobile app friendlier, So we're working on that. But today, as we begin, Vova, I really hoped you understood the benefit of this on both ends. Obviously, there are a lot of people out there that have cash and they're sitting at home and they're trying to make money. They're investing in real estate, they're investing in stocks, they're investing in crypto, anything to make them a few $100 a day, anything to make $1,000 extra a month. Right? Let's stop them from competing against you as a seller. Give them a little piece of what we're already selling, make them happy, create a passive income for them while we get the cash flow as the sellers and expand our businesses. And we all become wealthier in that time. And the marketplaces such as Amazon, they're going to love you. You're putting more stock on their shelves. You're increasing the number of sales. These marketplaces will then love everyone because guess what? Amazon makes more money, you make more money, everyone makes more money. Walmart, they've got their fulfillment. That's what we're going to add next. Then we move on to Shopify. Then we move on to direct fulfillment, which means one of the things that we want to do. So let's kind of go into the future of this, right? The future of this is people have asked me, but Shawn, I have my own fulfillment, FBM. Can I do
Mm.
that? At the moment, I can't. Remind you, this is not just an app. We're selling legal contracts against these goods the way you would legally contract for a share in Amazon or crude oil or natural gas. We have to ensure that the items actually exist, which is why the system connects
Yeah.
directly with the marketplaces when you sign up. When you sign up, you're integrating your Amazon channel, just like you would with some of these other tools that you use. You'd give
Hmm.
them token authorization, you'd see the data here, and then you'd be able to create your offer. Only you'd see it, and you'd create your offers up on that inventory. The reason we have to do it that way is because we have to make sure that the items that you say exist, that you say are selling, actually exist. And the only way we can do that is the Amazon API or the Marketplace API telling us they exist, how many sell, where they exist, etc. In the future, we will integrate third-party ERP and 3PL systems that will then allow you as a seller to integrate your self-fulfilled items because we'll
Hmm.
be able to use AI and those self 3PLs APIs to confirm that the items actually exist. So we've started with this today. The expansion and the reach is endless. And what I love to say, this is the stock market for everything, everyone, everywhere. I don't care where you sit. You and I are literally right now, I think like thousands of miles apart.
Yeah.
But we can invest in each other.
Hmm.
I don't care what currency you use, right? I have access to you, you have access to me now.
Nice.
That's kind of where we are today. Uh, I'll let you ask some questions, and maybe there are some questions. I'm sure there are. I try to simplify things, but I've been so embedded in this over the years that as the founder, my team, we have an extensive team based out of here in New York City. We're not outsourced. All of our engineers are in-house. Our investors are in-house. We own the company. We have not taken venture capital. I am well over seven figures in myself of my own capital. My investors who are working partners are well over seven figures in on this investment. Okay. So this is not just another company where we've just continued to raise money. Okay. We've built something for the people. It's built by the people, and the people are going to benefit from it. Because I myself have struggled in the past trying to create passive income for myself.
Yeah.
And I see this as a way that can really help everyone, not just the sellers to extract cash, but people are sitting home, they're going to college, they have part-time jobs, they're trying to find a way to just create a little bit more money. Things are getting expensive out there. Let's give the people who use your product the opportunity to make some money off of your product.